Item 3, deputations. We don't have any deputations under this item. Item 4, which is Chair's announcements. Just a brief update regarding the whole-time firefighter graduation on the 16th of July. So our newest whole-time firefighters completed their training programme on Thursday, 16th of July, and will be heading off to their new fire stations where they will work to make life safe. Safer across Hampshire and the Isle of Wight. The graduation ceremony held at service headquarters marked the end of the recruits' initial training and celebrated their graduation as qualified firefighters. Families gathered at the event for demonstration speeches, awards and certificate presentations. On behalf of the Fire Authority, I would like to congratulate all of our new firefighters and wish them every success and a rewarding career in the service. I'd also like to ask the Chief for any further comments there as well, please.
Thank you. Just to say that we're incredibly proud of our graduate firefighters. We're really looking forward to welcoming them into the service. And it's just to recognise, actually, that it is incredibly challenging to be a firefighter. I mentioned earlier on that I think it's an intense privilege to be able to be one. And we're really looking forward to the contribution that these individuals will be able to make to the service, to their teams and to the community over coming years. But also really at this point to thank the families. And you mentioned in your announcement the families that joined us. We often underestimate the impact that a supportive network around our firefighters can have. And they will be making sacrifices without necessarily realising it. Our firefighters might sacrifice birthday dinners, Christmases, various family events knowingly because they know that they're going to engage in shift work. But the families, actually, they give up much more. They give up those memories, they give up having those individuals with them making those memories because they're supporting them in helping to keep communities safe. And so we really appreciate that too.
Thank you very much, Chief. I'd just like to invite Councillor Vaughan.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Drew and I attended that after the County Council meeting, and it was as joyous as ever. And I will concur with what the Chief says. You know, the real joy is the sort of fizz and excitement of the families and relations there, bursting with pride.
Thank you, Councillor Vaughan. Councillor Carpenter.
I don't know if this is the right place, but I'd also just like to mention as well, I visited the Ringwood Cadets passing out parade as such on the 3rd of July. And again, it was a really proud moment for their parents, youngsters aged 13 to 17. And we enjoyed watching their exercises and being presented with their BTEC certificates. So thank you to their instructors and everyone involved. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Councillor.
Yes, thanks, Chairman. I was also at the graduation ceremony, and it is, just to echo, the fact that it's wonderful talking to relatives and the newly qualified firefighters. I think on this occasion there was one lady firefighter, and there were 4 people from Aldermaston. So we do work with other firefighting authorities. But as I said, talking to the parents is brilliant. The other thing that I did was I attended the Andover fire station, and that was I was scheduled for 1 hour, but I kept everyone talking for 2. What a surprise! I hear everyone say. But that was wonderful as well because I did ask them. I said, well, you know, what makes you want to be a firefighter? What would you really enjoy? And I did add, Chief, I did say, look, I'm only here to listen. You can say what you like. I can't take it back and actually implement anything, but I can feed back what you said. And I think they enjoyed the teamwork. And again, that's back to how people are recruited. If you want to be part of a team, you know, if you're a firefighting team, that was really important. And also a couple of other things that they mentioned. Well, one other thing was the fact that they are, and I think we've discussed it here, they are expected to do more and more and being paid the same amount. And I wonder if there's a way we can recognise the extra that they have to put in now in some shape or form, because I think it was particularly to do with their paramedic capabilities and when they needed to help people medically, which they have had some training and are able to do that to a greater extent. And I said, well, I'll report that back. and I think that's important because staff well-being is, of course, crucial. The other thing that I will feedback is an important and useful technical aspect, because while I saw 3 fire appliances, one was a water carrier, primarily, and the 2 firefighting vehicles, one was for the regulars and one was for the for the retained firefighters, and they had slightly different equipment, all the cutting stuff. I think one had foam that they could use. But the other thing that I saw was a Land Rover, a large Land Rover that they use periodically, and I said, well, how often does it get used? Well, not all that often, but we have to fire it up regularly to make sure it works. And one of the challenges they find is by having part of their maintenance schedule, firing it up regularly, it often breaks. And I was reminded of Gulf War I, when all of the Challenger tanks, I think there are 400 now in Jordan. This is relevant, Chairman, trust me. No. That every time they fire them, they had them in storage just in case we needed to defend the realm, and they fired them up regularly, and they were always having maintenance problems. But once they got them out in the desert in Saudi and they were using them for real, they didn't have anything like the same maintenance issues as they did when they were just firing them up weekly. So I just feed that back into the system. I don't know what the answer is. I'm not professing to know what the answer is on that one, but I thought it was a very useful observation, and I could relate it to something else that was going on. So all in all, Chairman, a thoroughly interesting and informative visit to the Andover Fire Station. Thank you for your time and indulgence.
Thank you, Councillor Drew. We'll just have one more comment from Councillor Harrison, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, it's a fairly brief one. This item's expanded into members' development, isn't it? I'd like to thank the authority for sponsoring my attendance at the Local Government Association annual conference, which was held in Bournemouth this year. I mean, these things are always really interesting because you get to meet like-minded people from all over the country and discuss matters of mutual interest, a lot of which was to do with firefighting and looking to the future role of firefighters and what might be coming down the line. And I know that there's a lot of thought given to that specific aspect. Really good speakers, one of which told us about the fact that there are fire services in Scandinavia who are on a war footing as we speak, because obviously they're nearer to the front line than we are, but I think there is some very serious thought now being given to what we might have to be looking down the line for.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Harrison. Thank you, members, for your inputs on that. Item 5, which is the modern slavery statement, pages 3 to 14 in the agenda pack. I'd like to invite Matt Robertson to introduce the report, please. Matt.
Thank you, Chair, and afternoon, members. This report seeks your approval for our modern slavery statement on behalf, which will be published on the authority's website. There's a requirement under the Modern Slavery Act 2015 for organisations to publish such a statement, and this outlines our commitment and the actions that we will take to understand, identify, prevent and address modern slavery risks within our services that we directly provide or those that we commission through our supply chain. There has been undertaken an annual review of the modern slavery statement, and there are no changes proposed from the statement we had last year. It is at Appendix A for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt. Are there any questions from members? Councillor Harrison.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the day when someone says, I want to declare an interest, I own 3 slaves or something. But the serious point to this is that we have a responsibility to make sure that people aren't abused in the way that we know goes on, often behind the scenes, out of public view. It happens in many forms, and I think it's absolutely right that the fire service, all of the fire service, are conscious of this, and that when they undertake their duties, particularly with home visits, it affords an opportunity for them to report things down the line and try and stop this from happening. as we speak, there are probably now people who are really suffering without anybody knowing about it. So the more that we can do in partnership with other organisations to uncover this and stop it completely would only be a good thing.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Drew.
Yeah, thanks, Chairman. Really just to support what David Harrison said. Oh, by the way, a declaration of non-interest. I have never owned any slaves. I don't own any slaves, and I never will own any slaves. But the serious point is, I think has been said, abuse of people in this way is abhorrent. We should do what we can. And I suspect what we can do is modest in the scheme of things where we look at other areas and other businesses and industry such like. But nevertheless, it's absolutely right that we have this statement. Very happy to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Lucioni.
I just wanted to touch on and thank everybody that's done their level 1 safeguarding and their level 2, especially the people that go out in their communities, because I think that's what we're talking about. And is that's mandatory before they go out, is it?
Yeah, it is mandatory, yeah. Any other questions or moving to debate at all? No? Okay, thank you very much. Members, Matt, did you have anything to
No, thank you, Chair.
round up? Okay, brilliant, thank you. So the recommendations on page 3, that the modern slavery statement at Appendix A be approved by the full authority and is published on the services website. Are we all agreed, members? Agreed. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, item 6 is exclusion of press and public. So to resolve that the public be excluded from the meeting during the following items of business, as it is likely in the view of the nature of the business to be transacted or the nature of proceedings that if members of the public were present during these items, there would be disclosure to them of exempt information within paragraph 3 of part 1 of Schedule 12A to the Local Government Act 1972, and further that in all circumstances of the case, the public interest in maintaining the exemption outweighs the public interest in disclosing the information for the reasons set out in the report. So I propose to move to the exempt session. Are there any objections